Thank you guys so much for dropping by my channel once again. Today we're talking about another movie, and that film is Civil War. Civil War is directed by Alex Garland. It stars Kirsten Dunst, Pablo Escobar himself, Wagner Moura, Cailee Spaeny, the wonderful Jesse Plemons, Stephen McKinley Henderson, and many other wonderful people in this cast in this massive production. This film takes place in the not-too-distant dystopian future as we follow a group of war journalists who cross the United States that is in the middle of this civil war, trying to capture the conflict and get this one impossible story. What I can say first and foremost is this is a crazy cinematic experience. I was locked in from beginning to end as we followed this group of journalists. This film is a technical feat considering it is a $50 million film and it feels like a $100+ million film. The cinematography is gorgeous and the sound design is immaculate. It truly immerses you in the insanity of this world and is used to maximum effect to create tension. Props to the sound team on this film as it is incredible. Everyone is giving incredible performances here and really bring to life the minimal amount of dialogue that there actually is in this film. For me personally, the standouts are Kirsten Dunst and Cailee Spaeny, along with a truly spectacular, shining moment from Jesse Plemons, who eats up this scene that he is in that is probably the scariest and most terrifying scene in the entire movie. We don't learn a lot about our protagonists, but we do have small moments with them that allow us to feel closer and feel the closeness between them, which helps to increase the stakes when they do run into dangerous situations. Those quiet moments are there to help develop the characters, but they're really few and far between as they are in essence constantly on the move in what is like a very high-octane road trip movie. This is not your typical action film. There is more gravity to the violence and it's depicted not in that kind of popcorn-style fashion. The violence is intense and at times brutal in its execution. The sound of the conflict, especially the guns as we're up close to them, is utterly deafening, especially if you see it in IMAX like I did. What this film does not do is take a really firmly planted political stance. It makes a deliberate decision to have us follow photo war journalists who are seemingly quite burnt out and are really just hungry to go and get the shot. We are really dumped with them deep into this war. We are not at the beginnings of a conflict or the downfall of a standing democracy, but rather years into an advanced civil conflict without much explanation given. It kind of allows the audience to project their own thoughts and speculate as to what is happening and come to these conclusions from what they're seeing on the screen. I believe this film does have a stance, but it isn't stamped on it with a big exclamation point. This could be a critique for some people, but for me it mostly worked. This film is a harrowing depiction of the important but terrifying work of journalists who go into conflict zones to capture what is happening. But I must say I was listening actually to one of my favorite film podcasts. A great point was brought up. This film can also be seen as a critique of media and journalism and the glorification of it. That the truth or what is right or wrong become irrelevant when the only thing the journalist wants to do is capture the photo for selfish motivations. The need to capture the image of the atrocity becomes more important than the atrocity in and of itself. This film is a scary depiction of a war on our own soil and what it might look like if an internal conflict inflated to that point. It removes itself from the exact details of the politics today and takes a strong stance on the fact that war is awful, pushing the idea that if someone thinks that violence is the answer, that they probably don't realize what that really entails. It also lampoons the stereotypical American and their ignorance of world issues. It makes a very clear point to mention some Americans who choose to ignore the Civil War as though it isn't happening, just as we see many folks ignore conflicts in the broader world today. I think this is a masterful film that maybe doesn't fully land the plane with its character arcs and their emotional payoffs, but it is a film that is a horrifying thrill ride that will surely lead to a discussion afterward. And I think that is exactly what Alex Garland wanted to achieve. I highly recommend Civil War. Go see it in the theater, in the cinema, the immersive sound, the big screen. It's worth it. Let me know in the comments below, what did you think of Civil War? And as always, if you like this video or my other videos, what have you, go ahead, like, subscribe, share with your people, and as always, I will see you in the next video.